1:53 a.m.
Hi, this is Britney Spears. It's February the 18th. I was just saying I was out of this conservatorship. I've been brought up by visitation of my babies. I'm confined, restrained, and stripped of my civil rights. And I demand the state of California to review this case because I feel it's illegal.
Britney Spears calls for immediate suspension of father Jamie Spears from her conservatorship. The 39-year-old wants the court to take action now regarding her father's position, which he has held since 2008.
Hello friends, how are you guys today? I hope you guys are all having an amazing day so far. My name is Shanda and welcome to my channel, you guys. I want to start this video off like every other video and say thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you enjoy it, and if you don't enjoy it, I hope you at least give it a chance. And if you guys are returning to my channel, thank you guys so much for returning to my channel. It really means a lot to me and I really do appreciate it. So today we are going to go through the court filings that were filed this week. Yesterday, Thursday, August 5th, Britney filed some papers in court. And today, Friday, August 6th, her father responded and filed his response in court. So we are going to go through all of that today. So sit back, relax, you guys, and let's talk about it. Okay guys, so this is the first page. This is what it looks like. Nothing really here, but here is the second page, and it says right here, to James P. Spears, the conservator of the estate of Britney Spears, and to other interested parties and their attorneys. Okay, please take notice that on Friday, August 6, 2021 at 10 a.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be heard in the courthouse, the Stanley Mosque courthouse, the conservatee Britney Jean Spears will and hereby does apply to the court on an ex parte basis for an order advancing the September 29th hearing date on the conservatee's petition to remove Jamie as her conservator of the estate and petition to appoint Jason Rubin as the conservator of the estate. In the alternative, so if they don't move up the hearing, Britney moves for the immediate suspension of Jamie as conservator and the appointment of Jason Rubin as temporary conservator pending the hearing presently set for September 29th, 2021. Down here it says the ex parte application is supported by good cause and is based on the accompanying memorandum of points and authorities, the June 23rd and July 14th testimonies of Britney. It's also supported by Jody Montgomery and Lynne Spears, and they both filed their support on July 26, 2021, and the declaration of Matthew Rosengart and Jody Montgomery again. So they're saying that they want the court to have an ex parte right now. They want them to move up the September 29th hearing to get Jamie out of here because that's too far away. And they also said that if they don't move up the hearing, they want them to suspend Jamie right here and now until the hearing and get Jason Rubin in there. Alright, page 3, right here we go, you guys. It says, introduction. This application seeks uncontroversial relief which is in the best interest of Britney and should be supported by the conservator of the estate, Jamie Spears, namely, an order advising the hearing date on Britney's petition to remove Jamie as conservator of the estate and to appoint Jason Rubin as his successor, presently set for September 29th, 2021. To the earliest date this court's calendar will permit on or after August 23rd, 2021. There can be no actual prejudice to Mr. Spears from the requested relief because by statute, these petitions may be heard within 15 days. Thus, Mr. Spears still will have the full notice period to which he is entitled under the code. Okay, so when he said they want to move this hearing up to as soon as August 23rd, I was kind of thinking, why not like tomorrow? Why not, this week? But it says here that there's like a 15-day thing, and then he has to have like this full notice by the probate code. So that's maybe August 23rd is maybe the last day of him like getting this notice. I don't know, but it's real great that Jamie gets his notice, but he went through all that stuff to make sure Britney never got a notice of the conservatorship when he put her in this thing. But I digress. Let's continue. Conversely, every day that passes is another day of avoidable harm and prejudice to Britney and the estate, as described in the July 26th petition under the probate code. Britney's emotional health and well-being must be and are the paramount concern. Further, all interested parties forcefully agree that Jamie's continued presence as conservator of the estate is contrary to Britney's best interests, health, and well-being, and that his prompt removal, or at the very least his immediate suspension, is critical at this juncture. And critical is bold, italic, underline, everything. In short, for a variety of legitimate, compelling reasons in the conservatee's best interest, the time has come for Mr. Spears' reign to end. Yes. This application, however, simply asks that the pending hearing be advanced to the earliest date under the code, and that this court's calendar will permit, so that, 1, if Jamie chooses to put his daughter's well-being first and accept an outcome that does not even ask him to admit any kind of fault, then Britney can begin to have a semblance of her life back that she wants. Or 2, if Jamie chooses to put his own self-interest first by opposing his ultimate removal, thereby putting himself at risk for attorney's fees, this court can take that fact into account in determining whether to suspend Mr. Spears pending the outcome of that litigation. Indeed, there already is substantial record evidence warranting Jamie's suspension right now, and should he seek to promote delay by opposing this application, any such opposition would speak volumes. That is awesome right there, you guys, because Matthew Rosengart is literally shoving Jamie into a corner right now and saying, look, dude, either you leave now and you'll do what's best for the conservatee, because ultimately in a conservatorship they're always supposed to do under the law what is best for the conservatee. And Britney is saying that she doesn't want him there. She's asked for his removal several times. She doesn't want him there. She's afraid of him. And ultimately, under the law, he's got to go. And so he's saying that if he does just step back, then they're not even asking him to admit to any fault, and he'll be doing what's in Britney's best interest. But if he doesn't step back, and if he chooses to fight this, then he is basically, first of all, I love how he put that he is going to be responsible for attorney fees. So I love that, because he's basically telling him, look, dude, if you're going to fight Britney on what she wants, then there's no more paying for your attorneys out of her pocket. You're going to be paying for your attorneys out of your own pocket from here on out. And that is awesome, because Jamie's always paid for his attorney fees out of Britney's pocket, fighting what Britney wants. Like, how is that fair? So he's basically saying, if you do fight this, then it's going to speak volumes that you don't care about what your daughter wants and you're putting yourself first. So, and you're going to have to pay your own attorney fees now. So that's awesome. But let's continue on. Alright, next page says, good cause exists for the granting of this application. On June 23rd and July 14th, 2021, Britney, poignantly? Sorry guys, I can't read. She described the often nightmarish circumstances of her 13-year conservatorship, which has been dominated from its inception by her father, James P. Spears. Among other things, Britney described the trauma and abuse she endured under the control of her father and those beholden to him, several of whom are being enriched from monies earned by Britney without her actual consent. Britney also explained that she has been traumatized, felt like, quote, I was dead, and, quote, I didn't matter, end quote. Now, I love that he included those two quotes because this same judge is the same judge, and she quoted, she said those things to the judge, like, you made me feel like I was dead, like I didn't matter for not taking my dad off. So I love that he quoted those two things while giving this to the judge. Less than 2 weeks after this firm's July 14th initial appearance, and as a first step, Britney's petitioned this court for her father's removal, nominating a highly regarded licensed fiduciary as successor. The July 26th petition did not require that Jamie admit or require the court to find that Jamie has acted wrongfully, even though there is ample cause to believe that he has. Instead, the petition invoked and is based solely on a specific provision of the probate code, section 2650, which vests the court with broad discretion to remove if removal is in the best interest of the conservatee, which it clearly is. Britney has tried to get him gone several times, and she said several times she's afraid of him, she doesn't want him around, it's bad for her mental health, and they still have never removed him. So he is basically saying right here, like, look, it's in the probate code. If it's in the best interest of the conservatee, he's got to go. So we're not even asking that he admit to any kind of wrongdoing, which, I mean, he clearly has done wrongdoing. We're not even asking that. We're just saying you need to remove him and getting him out of here because of the probate code. It says right here. It says also the petition contains overwhelming evidence warranting Britney's prompt removal under section 2650. Best interests. Test including Britney's own compelling June 23rd and July 14th testimony. The evidence also includes the testimony of interested party Jody Montgomery, who stated under oath in her declaration that Jamie's removal as conservator is critical to Britney Spears' emotional health and well-being, and in the best interest of the conservatee. Ms. Montgomery also filed a verified joinder to the petition on July 27, 2021, which provides the following. Ms. Montgomery has concluded that Jamie Spears, Mr. Spears, should not continue to act as the conservatee's conservator of the estate because his doing so is not in the best interest of the conservatee. Because the paramount concern for this conservatorship is doing what is in the best interest of the conservatee, petitioner hereby joins the conservatee in the removal petition. Petitioner seeks from this court the same relief prayed by Britney in the removal petition. So she is saying under oath that she believes that he should be gone, and she is joining with Britney to get Jamie out of here. Which, finally, you know. Okay, next we say Miss Montgomery also joins in the nomination of Jason Rubin as the conservator of the estate, who she recognizes and agrees is eminently qualified and who she believes understands his duties and obligations to act in the best interest of the conservatee. Therefore, she joins in the appointment petition seeking the appointment of Jason Rubin as the conservator of the estate in place and instead of Jamie Spears, and seeks from this court the same relief prayed by Britney in the appointment petition. In further support of the removal petition and appointment petition, and in her role as conservator of the person of Britney, Miss Montgomery respectfully notes that Britney's medical team agrees that it is not in her best interest for Britney to have Mr. Spears to remain as the conservator of her estate. In her declaration, she is basically saying that this medical team agrees that it's not in Britney's best interest for Jamie to be her conservator of her estate. Britney has also informed Miss Montgomery that it is her wish for Jamie to be removed, and Miss Montgomery believes in good faith that Britney's best interests are served by granting the removal petition and removing Jamie and replacing him as conservator of the estate with Jason Rubin as requested in the appointment petition. Similarly, interested party Lynne Spears declared that, quote, "It is clear to me that James P. Spears is incapable of putting my daughter's interests ahead of his own on both a professional and a personal level, and that his being and remaining a conservator of my daughter's estate is not in the best interests of my daughter, the conservatee." And then he says down here, finally, I love that, finally and importantly, as referenced in the petition and above, Britney's medical team is also in agreement that Jamie's removal is necessary. In bold, is necessary. During the July 14th hearing, Miss Montgomery's counsel stated that it has been the, quote, strong recommendation by the medical team that Jamie, her father, needs to be off the conservatorship, end quote. Alright, Miss Montgomery herself confirmed based on her personal knowledge that, quote, "I have had numerous ongoing conversations with the medical team, and we all agree that it would be best for Britney's well-being and mental health that her father stop acting as her conservator. Based upon this evidence alone, we respectfully submit that Jamie's immediate suspension and removal should be inexorable. Sorry, guys. Forgive me. Indeed, as we have previously stated, if Mr. Spears had the best interest of his daughter in mind, consistent with his obligations as a fiduciary to elevate her interest above his own, he would resign today. Which, duh. If he fails to do so and instead chooses to contest the pending petition, he is on notice that in addition to acting adversely to his daughter's best interest, he also may well be liable for attorney fees. There again, he's trying to tell him, like, look, dude, the law says that everything is supposed to be in the conservative's best interest, and it's clear that it's not in her best interest for you to be around. So if you're fighting her on this, then you should be paying your own attorney fees. She shouldn't have to pay your attorney fees for you to do what she does not want. And it should always be that way. I think that Britney should get all her money back from all the attorney fees that he has had over the past 13 years to keep her in this when she's never wanted to be in it. Who's with me? In short, although a 2-month wait for a hearing on the petition may not seem significant in the context of 13 years, Britney should not be forced to continue to feel traumatized, to lose sleep, and suffer further. Everyday matters. Yes. Under the circumstances, including Britney's own testimony, there is a compelling need for this court to grant this application and here rule on the pending petition to remove the conservator of the estate prominently after the code in the 15-day notice period has elapsed, or to suspend Jamie in the interim. An attorney advancing the hearing date on the pending petition is necessary to protect the best interest of the conservatee. So again, he says, good cause exists to grant the application because Britney continues to suffer ongoing harm each day that Jamie remains in place as the conservator of the estate emotionally, psychologically, and financially. Alright, here we go. First, as evidenced in Britney's petition, Britney's testimony in open court on June 23rd and again on July 14th. Jody Montgomery's declaration in support of petition for removal of Jamie. Jody Montgomery's verified joiner is Lynne Spears, and she agrees to get rid of Jamie. And Mr. Spears' Mr. Spears' presence as conservator is causing continued emotional and psychological distress to Britney. This continuing anguish can be mitigated now in one of two ways: by Jamie's prompt suspension or by a prompt hearing on the petition, so Britney may begin the process of healing and working towards a care plan that will adequately address these issues and allow her to return to her career should she wish to do so, while also allowing her to seek other relief as well. Okay, second, Ms. Spears has indicated, as her prior counsel stated, that she will not work until issue is resolved, which will cause the estate to suffer additional loss of income. The hiatus caused by abuse, trauma, and Britney's fear of her father potentially deprives the estate of millions of dollars annually and further impacts her well-being insofar as she is unable to pursue her career and life's passion without feeling suffocated by her father's oppressive oversight and micromanagement. As Lynne Spears' July 22nd declaration provides, the arrangement created by Mr. Spears has been, quote, exhausting and terrifying, like living in custody, end quote. Innumerable other examples are in the record, and they continue to grow. So it is really starting to get good here, you guys. Like, he is really letting the cat out of the bag. Finally, there has been an evident dissipation of assets of Britney's estate, and that dissipation is ongoing. As referenced in the petition, Jamie has paid multiple teams of expensive attorneys to represent him and the conservatorship, contrary to the wishes of Britney. Jamie's litigation counsel, Holland & Knight, alone seeks compensation from Britney of $1.356 million in attorney fees just from October 2020 to June 30th, 2021. $1.356 million, you guys, including a shocking and inexplicable amount of $541,000 for, quote, media matters. Mr. Spears has also enriched himself at the expense of his daughter, reaping millions of dollars from her services as a performer, in addition to paying himself $16,000 per month from Britney's estate, $2,000 more than he has allowed Britney to have, plus $2,000 more per month for office expenses. So he is paying himself $18,000 a month and only allowing Britney to have $14,000 a month. So he is getting $4,000 more a month than he's even allowing Britney to have, and she's the one making all the money. Does that seem right? These spendthrift ways are particularly problematic when contrasted with the stringent, quote, absolutely microscopic control Jamie has exerted over his daughter, evidently since her childhood and continuing through today. And he references Lynne Spears' declaration. Most recently, and by way of one illustration only, Jamie objected to his daughter's wish in late July to take a short vacation, disapproving of the expenditure that would have come from his daughter's own hard-earned money. Although Jamie and his team ultimately relented, the mere objection to his adult daughter taking a brief, well-earned vacation at this point in her life, while other funds are lavishly expended, underscores why suspension and ultimately removal should not wait. Boom. Further, and again, by way of illustration only, although a full recitation of facts discovered thus far in just 2 to 3 weeks is beyond the scope of this application, whether out of misfeasance or something far worse. I'm sorry, you guys. Spears appears to have, at the least, grossly overpaid Britney's former... let's get to this, you guys. You guys are going to love it. Mr. Spears has grossly overpaid Britney's former business manager, TriStar Sports and Entertainment. TriStar allowing it to extract exorbitant sums of money from the estate without Britney's actual consent. Yes, he is calling out Lou Taylor. This is awesome. For example, in December 2019, Jamie's inexplicably approved a payment to TriStar in excess of $300,000 above the approximate $200,000 that was supposedly payable to TriStar at the time. This $300,000 payment was not due to any extra duties or work performed by TriStar. To the contrary, for whatever reason, Jamie complied with TriStar's request for a $500,000 payment from the estate as a, quote, floor. More problematically, this payment was sought and paid despite Britney's infinite early 2019 hiatus. That is, rather than negotiating a new, less lucrative agreement as a result of Britney's hiatus, or moving Britney's business management elsewhere, Jamie allowed TriStar to siphon more than twice Britney's annual allowance out of her estate while Britney was on hiatus. When cast, this is awesome, you guys, I'm sorry. When cast even in the most benign light, this decision prioritized TriStar's interests and those of its principals over Britney's interest in contravention of Jamie's fiduciary obligations and responsibility as conservator to elevate Britney's best interest over his own or those of others in his circle. An investigation is warranted but can only commence fully once Jamie is removed, which is probably why he's hanging on for dear life as long as he can. I've heard a lot of people's theory that he is hanging on as long as he can so he can get rid of as much evidence as possible and shed as much stuff as possible, which is another reason why I think maybe that is why he's doing this ex-parte motion, like we need to get him out right now, because they don't want him getting rid of all this stuff. They want to find everything out. So maybe that's why they're trying to get him out right this second, you know, so that he can't get rid of any evidence. Anyway, a conservatorship should be a last resort. Yes, there never should have been one in the first place. Designed to benefit the conservatee rather than a mechanism designed to serve as a tool for the enrichment of third parties. Oh, brilliant, dude, brilliant. Although a proper conservatorship exists to protect a conservatee from undue influence, it is apparent that this conservatorship has allowed would-be influencers to take control of the estate and exploit Britney, often for their own benefit. The suspension and ultimate removal of Jamie will be the first step towards rectifying that abuse. I love it, you guys. I love it. And here is, down here, this little footnote. Oh my god, I love this so much, you guys. TriStar and its principal, Lou Taylor, have been accused by third parties of attempting to utilize conservatorships to their business advantage. And he is referencing the Ronan Farrow article, Britney Spears Conservatorship Nightmare. Although these allegations have been denied by TriStar and further investigation is warranted before conclusions are reached, the exploitation of Britney and the presumption that the Britney Spears, quote, brand is what needs protection is more than troubling. It also flies in the face of the legislative and judicial intent of the probate code to serve the conservatee's, quote, best interest. This is awesome, you guys. I love it. I can't believe he called Lou Taylor out by name. That is amazing. He also then says, if the court cannot grant this application due to the calendar constraints, the court should nevertheless suspend Jamie's powers immediately, because further delay in his removal would not be in the best interest of Britney and will cause further injury to the conservatee and to her estate. So he's basically like to her money as well. The court has the discretion to suspend the conservator's power pending a notice hearing. When doing so is necessary to prevent the conservatee or the estate from suffering loss or injury during this time required for the notice. So he's basically just doing the reciting the probate code again for us there. And for the same reasons outlined above, we respectfully submit that the ongoing loss and injury to Britney Spears and her estate are more than sufficient for the court to order Mr. Spears' suspension right now, regardless of when the hearing on the removal occurs. Further, Britney has already identified an immensely qualified conservator and nominating him to replace Jamie as conservator of the estate, and he is ready and willing to begin his duties with the sole focus of acting in the best interests of Britney, consistent with the conservator's fiduciary duties. In sum, although advancing the hearing date is important, as between suspension and the order of advancing the hearing date, immediate suspension would be the most effective interim remedy in the best interest of Britney. Given the ongoing harm endured each day that Jamie remains in place, it is in the best interest of Britney and also in the interest of justice to grant this ex parte application. Bravo. Everybody, let's give a round of applause to Matthew Rosengart. This ex parte application was brilliant. I love the wording. I love the way he backed Jamie into a corner. I love the way he kind of like poked at him like, you're going to have to pay for your own attorney fees. And I love that he called Lou Taylor out by name. That is awesome. Okay, guys, so they filed this ex parte application yesterday, Thursday, August 5th, and today, on Friday, August 6th, Jamie responded. So let's get to that. Alright, and again, this is their first page right here, nothing really on that. Okay, here we go. Mr. Spears does not oppose the request to advance the September 29th hearing date. On July 26, 2021, Britney Spears' new counsel, Matthew Rosengart, filed the conservatee's verified petition for suspension and removal of Jamie as the conservator of the estate to the probate code 2650. The petitioner for appointment of the successor probate conservator of the estate, the appointment of the successor Jason Rubin. Although the petitions were initially set for hearing on December 13, 2021, at a hearing in this matter on July 14, 2021, the court had approved an earlier date, so the hearings on both petitions were advanced to September 29, 2021. I think that it is absolutely disgusting that after listening to what Britney had to say for those 23 minutes on June 23rd, the judge decided to hold the next hearing over half a year away in December, or about half a year away in December. That is disgusting. She heard her. She heard how awful and how tormented and just distraught Britney was, and she decided to hold the next hearing on December 13th. Well, not the next one, because she spoke in July, but you know what I mean. December, like, come on. Almost 2 weeks later, Mr. Rosengart filed the instant ex parte application seeking to further advance the hearing on the petitions to the earliest date this court calendar will permit on or after August 23rd, on the grounds that it, quote, is in the best interest of the conservatee, end quote. The ex parte application relies on the same declarations that were filed in support of the petitions, adding only Mr. Rosengart's own declaration, which is comprised of unsubstantiated, vague accusations and a false statement about Jamie's opposing a trip to Hawaii. Indeed, Mr. Rosengart's declaration does not and cannot specify what the wrongdoing is or the particular actors who have allegedly committed this wrongdoing. According to Mr. Spears, affirmatively objects to all the declarations cited and files in support of the ex parte application. So they're basically saying here that Matthew Rosengart was appointed on July 14th, and that is when the hearings were moved up to September 29th, and that is when he put in the motions to get rid of Jamie and put in a new successor. Why didn't he say this then? He said it's been 2 weeks and he's just now coming out with this ex parte application. So he's basically trying to say, well, whoever his attorney is that wrote this, is basically trying to say that you should have done that on the July 14th hearing, so why wait 2 weeks and now file something? But I think that it's because he was just appointed that day and he got the hearing moved up, but he didn't know how bad it was. He's been digging into everything since then, and he is seeing how horrible and how bad everything is, and that is why this ex parte motion to speed it up. That's what I think anyway. Further, there is absolutely no urgency justifying an ex parte relief, and Mr. Rosengart has alleged no such emergency. Quote, applicant must take affirmative factual showing in a declaration containing a competent testimony based on personal knowledge of irreparable harm, immediate danger, or any other statutory basis of granting relief in the ex parte motion, whatever. So if this matter was as urgent as Mr. Rosengart claims it is, why wasn't the ex parte application concurrently filed with the petition on July 26th or addressed on July 14th? What has changed since then? Nothing. Like I said, I think what has changed is he just started and he's been looking into everything, and he's probably like, oh my god, this is terrible. And he's looked into her finances, or is trying to look into her finances, and he's just seeing nothing is adding up. There's something horribly wrong here, and that's why he's trying to speed it up. That's what I think anyway. What do you guys think? He says this ex parte application would have been entirely unnecessary if Mr. Rosengart had informed the court of his intentions at the hearing on July 14th, or even if he had conferred with the undersigned on this matter. Nonetheless, although there is no urgency justifying ex parte relief and no requisite showing of good cause has been shown, Jamie does not object to advancing the September 29th hearing date to the court's next available date on or after August 23rd, 2021. If there is a date that works for the court, Jamie will not object. So they're basically saying here that there's no need to get rid of Jamie right this second because he does not object to moving the hearing up. Now, and now if everybody's right that Jamie's trying to hold on for dear life as long as he can to get rid of as much evidence as he can and shred as much stuff as he can, then him saying, well, there's no need to get rid of me now because I don't object to moving it up. So he's trying to say, he's trying to stay in there right now as long as he can by saying, well, I don't object to moving it up, so there's no reason to suspend me right now. I think that's what he's trying to say, so he can stay in there and get what he's trying to do done. I mean, allegedly. Do we have to say that? Because I said this is what I think. No, I don't know. Okay. The court need not consider the alternative request for suspension. By its own terms, the ex parte application simply asks that the pending hearing be advanced to the earliest date under the code, and that this calendar will permit, or that the court's calendar will permit. Sorry. The request for suspension is made only as an alternative request if the primary relief is opposed or rejected. Mr. Rosengart is not asking for Mr. Spears' suspension if the court is able to advance the September 29th hearing on the petition. Thus, the analysis stops here, and the court need not address the alternative relief request in the ex parte application. So, I mean, technically they're right here, because he did say that he wants to move it up as soon as they can, that the code will allow, on August 23rd or right soon after. And if they object to that, or they can't do that, that is when he wants Jamie removed. So he did say that in his motion, and they're sitting here saying, well, look, Jamie doesn't object to moving it up, so his suspension, his immediate suspension, shouldn't even be considered. That's what they're saying. Okay, this says right here, no grounds exist for Mr. Spears' suspension, and the request to do so on an ex parte basis is highly inappropriate. So here, they say, although the court need not address the alternative relief requested in the ex parte application, there are no grounds whatsoever to suspend Jamie for over 13 years. I already know what they're going to say, so I'm ready with my stupid voice. For over 13 years, Mr. Spears had dutifully and faithfully served as the conservator of his daughter's estate without any blemishes on his record. This is not an opinion. He has taken the estate from being in debt and facing tens of millions of dollars in lawsuits to a current value of well over $60 million. Mr. Spears' record as conservator speaks for itself. Yes, it does, actually. He has filed annual accountings for over a decade that have been thoroughly reviewed by Miss Spears' attorneys and this court, and subsequently approved without objection. Hold on. That honestly doesn't say dick, because Sam Ingham has never lifted a fucking finger to help Britney or do anything, and in every light that you look at it, it looks like Sam was being paid off by Jamie, or Sam was doing everything he can to help Jamie keep her in this conservatorship because he was making a ton of money off of it. So the fact that they said that he has filed these accountings over a decade, and Britney's attorney has never has approved every year of it, that doesn't say a damn thing, actually. And actually, right, like a few months ago, when Sam actually started doing his job, he started looking into Britney's money and was like, whoa, where's this money? What's this? Do you guys remember that? So yeah, and let me also say that he has not had to file that, because for 2 years in a row, when Judge Brenda Penny first got on this case, she canceled that oversight hearing for 2 years in a row. So let's remember that as well in this filing. Okay, continue. As conservator of the person until 2019, and working hard with a team of professionals to restore the conservatee to good health, reunite with her children whom she had lost custody of, and had no visitation, and helped revive her career. Oh my god, you guys. It literally pained me to read that. I cannot believe this monster said something like that when he is the one who was keeping her kids away from her unless she did what he wanted. Allegedly, I think. Do I have to say that? I don't know. No, because she said it in those voicemails several times. I don't know. I'll say it anyway, just to protect myself. Allegedly. And let me also say, he said she's been serving for this many years, 13 years, without any blemishes on his record. Doesn't he have a restraining order for hurting Britney's sons? His own grandsons? But he's going to say here that she lost custody and he reunited her with her children. Let's continue. Whew. Throughout his service as conservator, Jamie's sole motivation has been his unconditional love for his daughter and his fierce desire to protect her from those trying to take advantage of her like he is. Excuse me. The conservatorship continues to exist. Well, duh. And Jamie continues to do the job that he was appointed to do. This court considered and denied a similar request to suspend Jamie in November 2020, finding no basis to suspend Jamie. Yeah, I love that they brought this up, because they're basically bringing it up like, hey, they tried this before and it didn't work. So basically showing Judge Brenda Penny, like, you're an idiot. Like, they tried this before and you didn't do anything, but Matthew Rosengart just showed you the probate code right here, so why didn't you do it? I don't know. Just as before, there are absolute no grounds to suspend Jamie and this request. If it is reached at all, which should not be, it should be denied. Mr. Rosengart's request to suspend Jamie is based on untested testimony provided by Britney at the June 23rd and July 14th hearings. Allegations and events largely related to health and medical issues for which Jody Montgomery has been responsible for since late 2018. Vague, conclusory, and unchallenged declarations submitted by Lynne Spears, Jody Montgomery, and Mr. Rosengart himself. At a minimum, Mr. Rosengart's suspension request raises serious and complicated legal and factual issues that require a full opportunity to be heard and cannot be resolved on a non-appearance ex parte basis. For example, Mr. Rosengart relies heavily on the unsupported and hearsay assertion that the medical team believes that Jamie must be removed. There is absolutely no explanation of any basis for this, but it seems to be related to the testimony provided by Britney at the June 23rd status hearing, covering a wide variety of issues involving both the conservatorship of the person and of the estate, including but not limited to serious allegations regarding forced medical treatment and therapy, improper medical care, and limitations on personal rights, to name a few. These issues regarding Britney's medical team are indeed serious, but Jamie has not been in control of his daughter's medical team since late 2018. It was Jody Montgomery, along with the Conservatives' former attorney Sam Ingham, who admitted Britney to a facility in early 2019, including but not limited to a signing of admittance documents. So he's basically, again, saying he didn't do anything, it's all Jody's fault, blah, blah, blah. Same thing he said before, but he's now saying that he didn't even put her in that facility. It was Jody and Samuel Ingham, which, when does an attorney put you in? I don't know. But Britney said at her hearing that her dad was the one who was on the phone just loving every minute of it, like, and happy that he could do this to her. And I'm sure Jody did say something about, like, everything still goes to Jamie. Like, all the decisions are really still his. So I don't doubt for a minute that everything still has to go through him. Let's continue. Miss Montgomery has continued to have control over Britney's medical team and personal life ever since. Based on Britney's statements in the court, it is clear that Britney does not know or remember that Jody directed and coordinated the medical team she is so angry about, or her former court-appointed counsel's involvement and an approval of the same. Mr. Rosengart also quotes Miss Montgomery's assertion that removing Jamie is critical, but neither explains why. It is unclear whether this assertion is related to Britney's current psychological state, her medical treatment, or something else completely. This claim is ironic, however, in the light of Miss Montgomery's recent plea for help from Mr. Spears when Miss Montgomery felt that Britney was spiraling out of control. Jamie received a call from Miss Montgomery on July 9th, 2021, in which she sounded very distraught, expressed concern about Britney's recent behavior, and her refusal to listen to or even see her doctors. Miss Montgomery pleaded for Jamie's help to address the issue. Jamie explained to her that he would do anything to help his daughter, but was limited in his ability since he no longer had access or insight into any of his daughter's medical information. They keep saying in their response here, they keep saying that, well, Jody's saying all this without any any proof. And Matthew Rosengart is saying all this stuff without any proof. But he literally just sat here and said that Jody called him on July 9th, 2021 because of Britney's behavior, and she was spiraling out of control, which was literally 5 days before her last, when she last spoke to the court. So if that was a problem, why wouldn't Jody have mentioned it on the July 14th hearing? She didn't mention any of that. So, but now Jamie is saying that she called him with all these complaints about Britney's behavior on July 9th. Well, where's your proof of this? They're not showing any proof either. Mr. Rosengart also raises financial issues regarding the amount of attorney's fees that have been incurred by the estate and payments that were made to the conservatee's former business manager. But these are ongoing matters that have been at issue for some time in the proceedings over the 12th account. They support no claim of urgency sufficient to justify ex parte relief, nor could such substantial allegations support a request for suspension. These matters must be resolved in the accounting proceedings where they were raised. They're saying he raised all these issues about her money, because that's what Jamie controls, but these are ongoing issues, and they need to be talked about in the accounting proceedings where they were raised. Not here. Why not there? Conclusion. The issue raised in the petition for removal must be addressed by the court, and they will be addressed in due course. If the court is able to accommodate Mr. Rosengart's request to advance the hearing date for the petition, the issue will be addressed by the end of the month or shortly thereafter. As noted, Jamie does not object to the primary relief requested by the ex parte application. But Mr. Rosengart's suggestion that the court could suspend Jamie without a hearing after 13 years of admirable service, carefully monitored and approved by this court, is simply without merit. Unsubstantiated assertions can never provide an adequate basis for an ex parte suspension. Alright, real quick before we go, you guys, I want to read this declaration to you guys. It is just disgusting, but it's just all about Jamie talking shit about how great he is. He says, I, James P. Spears, declare I am the father of Britney Spears. Since my initial appointment, I have continuously served as a conservator of my daughter's estate in the following capacities. Co-conservator of the estate with Andrew Wallet until March 5th, 2019. I almost said 2029. Then as sole conservator of Britney's estate after Mr. Wallet's resignation, and briefly again co-conservator of the estate with Bessemer Trust Company of California until July 23rd, 2021. Although letters were never issued to Bessemer. Yeah, so he really didn't serve as co-conservator with Bessemer because the letters were never issued to Bessemer. Remember I talked about that? They were approved to be the co-conservator of her estate back in November, but Samuel Ingham just magically forgot to file the paperwork until 5 days after Britney's June 23rd testimony. When they were appointed as co-conservators, Jamie did everything he could to make sure that they could not look into the books, and he did everything he could to make sure that they didn't have any more, quote, power than Jamie had. But that was all shut down, and after it was all shut down by the courts, magically Samuel Ingham just never filed the paperwork until it was too late and they wanted to pull out. So they never got a chance to look into the books. Why didn't you want them looking at the books? That's what I want to know. Okay, I also served as conservator of my daughter's person from February 1st, 2008 until September 9th, 2019, when Jody Montgomery was appointed temporary conservator of the person. Although I did not formally step down as conservator of the person until September 2019, I had not been in control of my daughter's medical treatment since late 2018, when due to my own personal health issues, I had to step back in this role. Instead, on August 21st, 2018, I hired Miss Montgomery to serve as my daughter's case manager and assist in all aspects of her medical decisions and treatment. And I love how he keeps saying his own personal health issues had made him have to step back. It wasn't his restraining order against his own grandsons. So he wasn't even allowed to be there when they would come, and that was a problem, and that's why he had to step back. Like, I not say that, because would that be a blemish on his record? I don't know. It was Miss Montgomery, along with the Conservatives' former attorney, Samuel Ingham, who admitted Britney to a facility in early 2019, including but not limited to the signing to admittance documents. Miss Montgomery has continued to have control over my daughter's medical treatment and personal life ever since. On July 9, 2021, I received a phone call from Miss Montgomery. During our call, Miss Montgomery sounded very distraught and expressed how concerned she was about my daughter's recent behavior and overall mental health. Miss Montgomery explained that my daughter was not timely or properly taking her medication, was not listening to the recommendations of her medical treatment or her medical team, and refused to even see some of her doctors. Miss Montgomery said she was very worried about the direction my daughter was heading in and directly asked for my help to address these issues. We also discussed the allegations that my daughter made at the recent status hearing on June 23rd and 2020. June 23rd, 2020? It was 2021. I don't know. Anyway, and the need to address these directly with my daughter. Miss Montgomery acknowledged that many of my daughter's statements at the last hearing were not true and attributed her statements to the fact that my daughter was, quote, mentally sick. I explained to Miss Montgomery that I would do anything I could to help my daughter, but was limited in this ability since I do not have access or insight into any of my daughter's medical information. After Miss Montgomery shared her detailed concerns about my daughter's recent behavior, safety, and overall health, she raised potential options, including a 5150 psychiatric hold, which raised my concerns. Yeah, I'm sure. The conversation ended shortly thereafter when Miss Montgomery said she would update me on my daughter's condition and would follow up on what I can do to help. On July 13th, I received an email from Miss Montgomery in which she acknowledged our call but backtracked on most of the details she shared with me and discounted the need for 5150. I declared under penalty of perjury, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so he's basically saying that there was this phone call, okay, where Jody was basically saying that Britney was doing all these terrible things. She wasn't seeing her doctor, she wasn't taking her medicine, blah, 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 and even talked about a 5150 hold, which raised his concerns. But where's the proof of this phone call? Where's the proof of this? But then he said Jody wrote him an email but backtracked on everything that they talked about. Well, was she really backtracking, or did they never actually talk about that, and did she never actually even say any of that? I don't know. But can you guys imagine how that would have went over if right after Britney testified in court, they freaking put her on a 5150 hold again? Can you guys imagine how that would have went over? Oh my God. Okay, so that is everything, you guys. His response kind of irked me. It made me mad. It was ridiculous. But he's not opposing to moving the hearing up. Hopefully they can get him out of there as soon as possible so they can get into this and find out what was going on. But if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would really, really appreciate it, and it would really help in the algorithm if you guys could comment down below. I love hearing all of your thoughts and opinions about everything that we talk about on this channel, but definitely let me know what you guys think about this. And if you guys can comment, like, share, whatever, it'll really help get this information out there and get YouTube to help it through the algorithm. And oddly, every time I post a free Britney video recently, I've been having a lot of trouble with it on YouTube and on Instagram, oddly. So I've been having a lot of trouble. So if you guys could help me out, or share, like, comment, it would be awesome. I appreciate it so much, you guys. You guys just being here means the world to me. I appreciate it, like, with my whole heart. I really do, you guys. I love you guys. And if you guys have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. You guys know you want to. I would love to have you guys in the family. I will be keeping a very close eye on this, and I also got some other videos planned for you guys. And until next time, you guys, in a world where you can be anything, please be kind to each other. Bye, guys.